Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrone Dukes here with iManagement Solutions. I have my fabulous co-host, Loida Figueroa, and we're interviewing an awesome individual on today. We have Mike Fox with us on this morning, guys, with Crystal Fox Films. And I just wanted to let you know that Mike is a fabulous individual. He's going to provide us with some power pack information with regards to his industry. He's a well known expert in his field and he produces some awesome films. So just wanted to thank you, Mike, for joining us on this evening. We welcome you and just give our audience a warm welcome and applause. Thank you for attending on this evening, Mike.
Thank you for having me. It's fantastic to both of you. Big kudos and appreciation to all the things that you guys are doing. It's great to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. So, Mike, we're just going to go ahead and get started on today. We know that you have a wealth of information to share with us, and we just want to make sure that our audience gets this information, be able to take it and use it. And you're the expert that we're interviewing on today. And we're just going to go ahead and get started with this first question, Mike. And let's just go ahead and get started. So, Mike, just out of curiosity, kind of tell us about your background and how you got started in the film industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe 20 more years and I can be an expert. Steven Spielberg is an expert. Christopher Nolan is an expert. I'm just on my journey towards the expert journey, destination here. But I always like to help, to educate, to train, to teach those along the same path. And I think that's for many of us, as freely as you have received, give. And so when you, and in this industry, this very volatile, high up and down industry called the entertainment industry, it's very rare that you'll find somebody who will share the ups and downs and things that help you along the way. So, me and my family, we always like to help others, things that we learn. So that way, we can help somebody else that's on the same path. And we know it'll come back to us, and, so in a blessing some way. But I've I've been into movies since I was a kid. I've done voice impersonations of celebrities since I was a kid. From way back yonder, like Twilight Zone, Rod Serling. You've entered another dimension, a dimension not only sight and sound but of mind. So it's like, and then of course Star Wars characters, all kinds of different people. And I've always been intrigued about movies and behind the scenes, like how did they do that, And so it wasn't until, somewhat recently where I started getting, well, for about 10 years or so, I've been into video production. So I've been creating commercials and video promos for customers and our clientele for our regular business, which is Splash Design Works. And we've been involved with all kinds of business, ventures and chambers and places. So I've been doing video production for a while, but I've always had that desire to get into actual filmmaking, which is a different aspect of video production. And, that's creating movie magic, creating a story, a narrative, like a book, but come to life. And I've always been an author and a creative person for forever. And so it was only recently, many years ago, that I actually started to push regular filmmaking as opposed to video productions and commercials. And I actually kind of started with our daughter, our superstar rock star daughter. And she's an actress and she's a professional voiceover and a million other things. But I wanted to get together.
She's amazing.
She is on fire. I wanted to get together some show reel for her. And just, to add to her resume, her acting resume. And so I started doing like some I had thoughts just going through my mind, and I started creating a little bit of show reel that started getting longer and longer in its time. And one of the first things I did for her was, you know, like a sci-fi type of thing. And what started out to be like maybe a 2-3 minute extra show reel, it ended up to be, you know, 10-15 minutes of a film short. And so I'm like, okay, there's all kinds of film shorts going on the film festival circuit, what they call the circuit. And so I submitted, and then I started winning awards for these film productions that I was doing. And then so just from then I'm like, this is pretty cool. I like this. And so, but I got to like unleash, you know, the beast per se, the passion that I had to actually create, you know, filmmaking content. It was there. And so I'm like, this is, I shouldn't have done that, because now it's just like pouring out, you know. I'm like, okay, I've got to do more and more. And so I started producing other stuff, and then directing other stuff, getting into directing and producing, you know, from comedy stuff to faith-based stuff to other stuff. And it just grew and grew and grew from there until, you know, now we have Splash Design Works and Crystal Fox Films. And, you know, our prayer is that we would go from Splash Design Works into full-time filmmaking, you know, throughout the industry and making a difference. And I can get into that later, but yeah.
Awesome, Mike. If you, ladies and gentlemen, if you heard Mike, Mike just gave you a wealth of information. Look, he pretty much told you, look, I have my daughter in the business. So he's creating a legacy for his family that can be passed down to another generation, guys. So just imagine the impact that it has on his family. So when his daughter goes off to college, you know, and comes back, she has an opportunity to pretty much work in the business, or if she chooses to do something else, she can. But just that opportunity for his daughter to come back and be engaged in the acting aspect of the business, or if she chooses to get involved, you know, in the other aspects as far as, you know, design and things of that nature, she can get involved. So that's very powerful, Mike. You know, that's I give you kudos for making that happen for the family. That's really awesome. Well, Mike, we have this final question for you on this evening, and it's a great question. We know that, you know, based on your expertise, your wisdom, and your knowledge that you have in the space, you're going to be the best individual to share this. So what advice would you give to someone who's wanting to get started in the business of filmmaking?
That's probably a question for a whole show of itself. There's just so much things. There's actually just a few little drops or a few little nuggets, because there's so many things that you know, I've been asked that question many times in other interviews and things. So I'll just throw a few nuggets, if that's okay. You know, number one, try your best not to take shortcuts. I know as an indie filmmaker, you know, you gotta, you know, the shoestring budget is a literal shoestring, and so you got to do what you got to do. But when possible, don't shortcut things. Like spend a few extra dollars and get the right equipment, the right gear, the right actor or actress, or, you know, the right setting, the right plug-in for your post-production, whatever. Try your best to invest, because you're investing in yourself, your talent, and the other parts of the cast and the crew that has invested their time and energy in your project. Number two is collaborate. Collaborate, and this is a big one, because the longer we work in this space, the more I start telling people over and over again, when you find somebody in this industry, and there are A-listers that are leaving Hollywood. They're going to Las Vegas, Nevada, starting their own studio, going to Utah, Texas, a big thing in Texas, and they're leaving California. You know, that's where I grew up. I grew up in Cali, so, you know, I was born and raised in California. So, you know, it's a interesting place up there. But you know, collaborate with like-minded people. When you find somebody that has a good head on their shoulders. They're for real, and they're genuine, and they're not like fake, and they have the right mindset. Nobody's perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect. So when you find somebody that you can connect with and help each other in this space, stay connected to them with everything that you can, and collaborate. Help them, they help you, vice versa. Because this industry literally has people that will be loyal one day, the next day they will tear you up, throw you under the bus, and try to ruin your entire reputation, or say stuff about you, and you're like, where did that come from? So it's just it's a lot of like, it reminds me of kids throwing temper tantrums in the sandbox. They are literally immature in adult bodies, and you're just like, that's just, come on, but they're so driven to succeed and success that there's no moral compass in so many people. So collaborate with like-minded people, help each other succeed, be a puzzle piece, be a piece to their puzzle, and vice versa. And the last one I would say is make sure you have borders and you stick to those borders. Whatever you say is the thing that you won't cross those borders. Borders are not just to keep things people in or whatever from going out. It's from keeping those that are outside that are dangerous on coming in. People don't realize borders are, I mean, I can go in the Bible and say borders are biblical, but borders are very important. That's why you have guardrails when you go on mountains in a car. If they don't, there's a lot of people that would die. So it keeps you on the road. And so know your borders and stick to your borders, and don't keep expanding your borders and selling yourself out just for a sip of Kool-Aid or a sip of something, that may or may not even be, your success. Just know where you stand, and don't move, beyond those borders that you place for yourself, for safety, for your family. And then the last one I'll say is balance everything out. Balance everything out. Family, if you're single, then, balance out your work and what you're doing with the filmmaking. If you're a family, if you got, wife, you got kids, you got a husband, make sure that it does not go seep into your family time and start to steal that away, because that it's not worth it. So yeah.
That was some powerful information, Mike. First one, guys, he said he wants you to do not take shortcuts. That's so important in business. We shouldn't be taking shortcuts. Everything is not going to come to you in a fast way. You're going to have to put forth the effort and really work for that item. You have to work and put forth the effort. Don't take shortcuts. Number two, collaborate with like-minded people. That's very important. It's important for you to collaborate. Three, he said, look, put up the borders. We refer to them as boundaries. You cannot let everyone come into your universe. Some people are meant to be in your universe, and some people are not. You can't let everyone in your space, because they're just going to pretty much mess up your whole universe. You can't allow that to happen. And the fourth item, he said, look, do not compromise your family's time. It's going to be very important for you to spend time with your family. So when you have a choice between sometimes an economic opportunity, and you have to pretty much balance out spending time with your family, if it's pretty much compromising your family time, sometimes it may be worth it to turn down that economic opportunity. So these are things you have to balance out. Mike, those were some powerful keys that you presented to our audience on today. And we just got to, Mike, we want to make sure that you provide some contact information. how do people get in contact with you? Because again, they may be interested in, learning about starting a business in filmmaking, or they may be interested in having you produce a film for them, or they may be interested in commercial or promos, or even from the aspect of actually having their business, included in some of your movies. So, Mike, how do they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So if you're watching this, you're listening to this, area code 302-399-7851 is a phone number to keep on file. Excuse me. The direct email that you can use is director@crystalfoxfilms.com. That's director at crystalfoxfilms.com. And our regular business for video production commercials is Splash Design Works, and that's info, like information, info@splashdw. D is in Delaware, W is in wow, .com. So info@splashdw.com. And then, of course, we're online like everywhere. Facebook, Crystal Fox Films, Instagram, Crystal Fox Films, Splash Design Works. Also, my official Instagram is official Mike Fox. Excuse me, where I post all kinds of stuff pertaining to everything that I'm doing here. So official Mike Fox is the Instagram. And then, of course, crystalfoxfilms.com